I think it's fair to say that I like a good barbecue.
You do.
Whenever there's a good spell of weather, I love being outside, the barbecue, the sunshine, the nature, the birds, and the smell of cooking meat, I just find completely intoxicating. And the one thing that I really like doing with our barbecues is actually using wood as our base. I think a lot of people default to using charcoal because they just think it's quick and easy.
Yeah.
But I tend to find that wood is actually a better solution. It creates less smoke. It's a lot easier to light. It's a lot easier to cook on.
Yeah, it's more natural.
And it's more natural.
Actual charcoal takes something away from the experience of cooking outside.
Yeah.
I think when you use wood, I think there's something quite primitive, maybe the way that we were cooking thousands of years ago. And I think there's something very beautiful and basic to it.
And it really does elevate the taste of that food.
Yeah.
So if you cook something indoors on the grill, cooking the same exact meal on the barbecue, for me, it just tastes like a million times better.
Yeah. I think that as soon as you add something, I don't want to say toxic, but very unnatural and more chemical, so whether that is a fire lighter that's like one of those petrol fire lighters, or a charcoal that's already got some kind of fire lighter fluid in it, A, it takes away from the food, B, it takes away from the experience, and I just think it makes the whole thing feel very messy and unclean. Whereas when you actually go the other way and we use our little fire lighters that are dipped in pure wax and are completely natural, and then we use our wood and the kindling is obviously all natural and clean, there is something that just feels so much more clean and hygienic and enjoyable about it.
Definitely. And I think that's a really important point because you are actually cooking on the grill. The fire is like this far away from the actual meat itself.
Yeah, true.
So any toxins or chemicals that are actually in the coal that you might have potentially used to start that fire are going to still be present in that fire.
Yeah.
And they are going to be, blowing up
Permeating.
and infusing themselves into the actual meat.
Yeah.
And that's something you really want to avoid.
So when you use just raw natural materials like the wood, you stand there and you smell it and it just smells so...
It's insanely good. I love it. And as a word of caution, if you get the actual coal for the barbecues that are basically branded as quick start or no need for fire lighters, those are doused in chemicals. They're there to basically strike a match and that thing gets going instantly.
Yeah, highly flammable.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, they've been soaked and stuff, haven't they? Yeah.
So that's precisely why we like to use kiln-dried logs for our barbecues.
Yeah, makes a massive difference.
And you use a lot less fuel.
Yeah, you do.
So in our instance, we've got a little Weber in the back garden. It only takes 3 logs as opposed to like a full bag of coal. And that is enough for us to make a meal for the 2 of us. Probably if we were to actually stretch it, would probably be enough to a meal for 4 on just 3 logs.
And we are guilty of it. We were buying those really cheap bags of charcoal and we were buying the lighter fluid liquid and it was just getting sprayed all over it. And there was something that just felt really dirty. The food never tasted great. No. And when you came to cleaning, everything had charcoal kind of marks on it. Your hands were filthy, you were filthy, the tools were filthy. It was just horrible. And when we had that barbecue the other day, even the smoke that was coming off the barbecue, it was just so thin and the smoke was just disappearing. Whereas when you've used the charcoal, it's kind of really thick and the smoke that comes off is really kind of acrid and it kind of hangs in the air and it's thick and foggy and just horrible.
Especially when you light it with a charcoal fire, when you strike that match initially and that coal gets going, it just billows big black clouds into the sky. And that's got to just be so nasty for your lungs to actually try and breathe in, let alone what actually goes on your food. So we've completely simplified our barbecues now. It's kiln-dried logs at the bottom, kindling and natural fire lighters. So the whole thing from start to finish is natural.
And it's a top down, the way that we start our fires as well, which is again completely different to how we used to do it. And again, it is so much more reliable, the burn gets going, it's consistent, it doesn't go out. It's just so much easier.
And you end up using less fuel.
Yeah, when I used to think that actually we used to go through an entire bag of charcoal, plus all the kindling, plus the fire lighters, plus all of this stuff and the fuel and the liquid and everything that we were using. And now we literally go through a handful of kindling, like 2 of the little natural firelighters and 3 pieces of wood. It's so much less than what we used to use, isn't it?
And I love using the Weber for our barbecues because it's got the lid, so you can put the lid on, that smokes the meat. But not only that, if the flames get too high, by putting that lid on, it just suffocates the fire a little bit. So, you know, it brings the heat back under control. And that always allows us to just get really good quality meat that's not burnt, and that's always cooked through really nicely with that smoky flavor.
So for a barbecue for 2 people, as I said, we're literally using a handful of kindling, 2, maybe 3 little natural firelighters, and then 3 pieces of kiln-dried logs. So it's just 3 logs. And that's really good to think about if you want to actually cook outside in somewhere more natural or a space that you really want to be careful about your environmental impact. So for example, if you are cooking in a space that's allowed in like a woodland area, camping site, or on the beach, then to be able to just take that, what we use, just 3 logs with you and the natural firelighters and a little bit of kindling, you're not going to be leaving any waste behind. It's going to be far more natural and softer on the environment around you. And quite honestly, that alone in a little bag is probably weighs less than a huge bag of charcoal. So you're actually not having to lug with you more stuff. It's actually less stuff and far better for the space that you're going to cook in.
So if you're accustomed to only using charcoals for your barbecues, I definitely encourage you to try using kiln-dried logs. It's a far better experience, it's far more natural, and the environment will thank you for it.
And the food will taste fantastic. So thanks for watching, give us a thumbs up and let us know what your favourite tips are for having the best barbecue in the comments below.